chair now recognizes Dr. Foxx from North Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Califf, the Center for Tobacco Product, or CTP, must make timely decisions on whether products, especially tobacco harm reduction products, can be allowed for sale or not. However, stakeholder groups with pending pre-market tobacco product applications, or PMTAs, have been waiting for several years to a decision which far exceeds the 180-day review period written into law. Can you tell me in 25 words or less, why has the CTP failed to comply with the statutory review period despite the fact that the CTP's staff has more than doubled in the last decade?
You said less than 25 words. It's 26+ million applications. We're now 99% done, and soon we will be within that time frame.
But you know, among those applications are very frivolous applications, and there's like a couple of dozen in there that are coming from legitimate places, and you all should have focused your attention on those. It's hard to believe that an agency that's doubled its staff over a decade to over 1,200, receives over $700 million per year in funding, is still not meeting the deadline for these PMTAs, the serious ones again. It's my understanding relatively few serious from legitimate companies. What steps are needed to bring more accountability to the CTP?
I'd remind you that the vaping industry right now pays no user fees, so all the money and people that are hired off of the combustible product industry. There we have tremendous gains. So in terms of the transparency now of the applications, people can track it. The information is published, and you're seeing continuous improvement in our efficiency.
So what are the performance metrics does the CTP have to ensure they're being good stewards of the tobacco user fees?
It's the numbers of applications, the time it takes to review them, the outcomes of the reviews are discussed by numerous watchdog groups that are looking at everything that we do.
Had the CTP done its job over the last decade, there should have been tobacco harm reduction products approved through the appropriate process. There's clearly a demand for these products that's being filled by illicit flavored disposable e-cigarettes, now make up more than 70% of the e-cigarettes or ENDS market, as my colleague is talking about, most of which are from China. What is the FDA doing to rectify this problem of illicit products in the market?
If I may, tobacco harm reduction product is an industry term. I'd say we're all in favor of reducing harm from tobacco. And as I went over with an earlier question, we have an increasing number of warning letters, civil money penalties, and injunctions now, and seizures now at ports of places of import. It is a very large number of products. There's no question about it. It is a big job, and we have a lot more work to do.
Commissioner, you've recognized the critical need for the public to have access to accurate medical and scientific information to help inform the decisions they make about their health. How does the FDA justify the decision to spend millions on ad campaigns and scare tactics such as brainworms or metal dragons that are not based on verifiable facts? And when will the FDA focus on the facts about what can make cigarettes deadly, as Congress intended in the Tobacco Control Act, instead of relying on misunderstandings and outdated narratives?
I'm not sure I follow that question. I would just say we've seen dramatic progress in reduction in combustible tobacco use, significant reduction in the number of people dying, although it's still 460,000. I'll just note that in my time at Alphabet, I learned a lot about advertising. I think our statements are based in fact, and they include a component to reach into the culture of people that need to receive the information. Simply stating a fact when you're talking to a teenager is not necessarily the best way to reach that teenager. You need to have the mind prepared to absorb the information.
So brainworms and metal dragons.
I don't know about brainworms and metal dragons, but I'll take your word that something alluding to that must exist somewhere in there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.